Welcome to another edition of Vigorously with Val Kleinhans. That's me. I'm the one that you hear yapping all the time, every week on this podcast. And today I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming Vicky from Sicksense on the pod today. I'm thrilled to have you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invite.
Happy belated birthday.
Thanks.
You're a
Yeah.
Cancer. I've got a lot of Cancer in my chart too. I mean,
Hell yeah.
true to the stereotype. Do you feel all the feels as well?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I've read that cancers are like the most loyal. They
Yes.
value loyalty above all else, and I think that's like my main thing too. Like I feel a lot of things, but I think I'm able to shut a lot of that off for, my own well-being. Um,
Right.
except when it comes to like loyalty, like the people I love, like, I'll die for them type thing. Which, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think that would ever go away. And vice versa. I hope to have people in my life that feel the same way about me. Yeah.
Works better when it's reciprocated. We need that, and because I will we will cut you off if we've had enough. We will cut you off.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're over it. But I'm a Capricorn sun, so I need a lot of structure. I need to focus
Mm.
on the business as well too. So those two, I don't know, they're constantly pulling at each other. This one
Oh
wants to
yeah.
like be empathetic, and then the other side is like, nah,
Mm.
business first.
Yeah, I haven't done a deep dive to see the rest of like my whole, zodiac composition, to know what else is there, but maybe I should.
It's fun. It's interesting. And what
Yeah.
is funny is that even though we've got all this emotion happening, it's not always projected externally. So,
Oh yeah.
like, we love a quiet introvert who feels all the feels and just kind of keeps them in until they're
Mhm.
comfortable because it's almost like getting a gift, which, by the way, thank you
Yeah.
for going on Garza's podcast and standing up for us introverts. I did watch that. And
Hell yeah.
I was like,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Somebody needs to say this. So, how many times, just in music in general, I mean, people expect them to be extroverts, but I'm kind of finding more of the opposite too.
Mhm. No, I think a lot of us are, especially I think the songwriters.
Mhm.
Because I think people that are like natural born performers that maybe don't necessarily care about the composition of the song, but like playing live shows and like being on stage and stuff like that, I think maybe the percentage of those people being extroverts is a bit higher.
Mm.
But when it comes to songwriters, lyricists and all that, I think we're more inclined to be introverted because a lot of the things that we want to say in real life and we can't say in real life, we put into our art instead.
It's better. And I'm sure the new single, which we are going to get into, is definitely a prime example of that because
Thank
AI
you.
is a topic. AI is a topic right now. And
Sure
well,
is.
we'll dive into that. But
Mm-hmm.
back to the Garza interview, another favorite part of that for me was watching you get a little bit emotional when you
Yeah,
were talking about your why and
yeah,
being
yeah.
reminded of your why as in why we do what we do as creators. Like this conversation happened a minute ago, so I wanted to just ask, does your why look different today?
I don't think so. No, I think it's the one thing that like I hold on to when a lot of the noise and a lot of the bullshit and all
Mhm.
that stuff, some days you wake up and it's just not your day and everything's going wrong and you feel like I've had enough, maybe I should just quit, and all that and then that comes back into my mind and I'm like, "No, you got to keep going because of my own personal why, but of also the progress and the community that I've built and how far I've come, I'd like to think that if I were to disappear off the face of the earth, because I think that's what I would do. If I would quit music, I don't think I'd be on social media anymore. I'd be like, finally, I have no reason to
Bye.
do this, you
Exactly.
know?
Trailer park in Arizona. No one will know where I am. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think but when I think of that, if I were to disappear, I think it would impact some people's lives. I think I'd like to think so, and
Mm.
a big part of what keeps me going is knowing that I make some kind of difference in people's lives. Yeah.
Yeah, your words matter, your actions matter, and that kind of adds an element of responsibility too, which is a
A little
lot.
bit. It's a lot. And I feel like a lot of people fall into that trap of like people pleasing maybe a little bit too much,
Mm.
where it's like my fans or my community or whatever expect this of me, therefore I'm gonna do it. And I think that's okay when that aligns with something that you want to do as well. But if you feel like you're starting to do things that maybe don't actually connect with who you are as a person, that's where it can be toxic, and very detrimental to your mental health, because you're like, doing these things artistically that maybe you don't want to do. And then if you don't get the response that you were expecting, you're like, it just sold out my soul and sold my
Yeah.
soul. Yeah. And what did I get in return? Nothing, you know?
Right. You have to rely
Yeah.
on your own moral compass
Hmm.
and just pray to God that nobody's speaking over it. Your emotions aren't doing what they do over it. It's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough because you're taking in so much energy and so much external stuff from
Hmm.
everybody else. I mean, especially as a creative, you're out and about, you're meeting a bunch of different people all the time. It's
Yeah.
hard.
It is. It is 100%.
Does your why look different as your career advances?
No, I don't think so. And sometimes I like to, you know, play that game and think in my head, like, would I be any different if I were bigger? Like, say Sicksense blew up overnight and suddenly next year we're headlining these like big venues or whatever. Would I be any different? And I think that's like you don't know until it happens with
Yeah.
as with anything, but I don't think I would be. I think, my day to day would certainly change, and like the structure of the shows and all that, and just a lot more pressure and responsibility overall. But I don't think I'd be any different. I think I'd still have the same reasons why I'm doing this. Um, I don't even know if I'd feel more what's the word? Pressure in the sense that like what if I do something wrong and I upset people
Mm.
and all that? I don't even think I would, because I feel like these days it's this business has always been high risk, high reward, but I feel like if you have a big audience already, you can just do whatever you want. Sure, you'll alienate some people that say you switch genres and they're like, "Oh, I'm not about this." But you'll
Hmm.
gain a whole other audience in doing that. So, I don't think I would change. I think if anything, I think I would be um more uh able to handle the stresses. Like the stresses would be
Mm.
more, but I
Mhm.
think mentally I'd be better in like tackling them, because suddenly, I'd have real financial income coming from this. So I feel like I'm the type of person, like if you give me more work, I can handle it as long as like all this is calm and centered,
But you'll
you
never
know?
let anybody know that it's bothering you either. No.
No, exactly. And I think I speak for everyone where it's like financial burden is a main issue for a lot of musicians, because it's like it's not why we do it.
Mhm.
I'd like to think metal musicians, at least, that's not why we do it, but the older you get, the more you're like, okay, it's like I have to start seeing something, because if I don't ever see anything and I don't have a day job, like a lot of people have day jobs, and
Right.
um, but some people have a day job that they're passionate about. They're like, I like this, maybe not just as much as music, but I like it, so I could be okay doing this and quitting music. But a lot of people get, stupid day jobs that just cover the basic
Hmm.
stuff, and they're like, I'm gonna make it. I'm not gonna need this job anymore. Or people like me, I don't even have a day job. Like this is all I do. So I feel like if that burden was lifted, I'd be able to handle a lot more of the work that comes with the rest, but I
Yeah.
don't think my why would change. I think like I'd still be doing it for the same reasons.
The point was to put yourself in the booth, in the studio, and to put yourself on stage,
Yeah,
regardless of whether you had a second job at any other time. Now you're like, this is it. This is all I've ever done. She's shaking her head.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped working, other jobs years ago at this point, and being
Hmm.
a freelancer, it's like some months can be great, some months can be awful, so it's a lot of money management. And Sicksense being independent,
Hmm.
there's some months where like we have a separate bank account for the band, and some months the band's doing really well and that can just pay for anything, but then there's some months that I have to dip into like my personal finances and shoot some money there that I know I'm hopefully going to get back at a later point, and that's fine. I'm happy to do it, as long as everything is okay and balanced. But again, I think I don't, yeah, my why wouldn't change. I think I just make music because what else am I, like, that's all I feel like I'm meant to do. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a
And
calling. It's a calling. It's
yeah.
it's a strong pull toward, look, this is what I should be doing, and I
Hmm.
will do whatever I can to ensure that I'm doing it for a long time.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm hoping that the fact that, I mean, you definitely have a team around you, but for anybody that doesn't know, Sixth Sense is a dual vocalist situation, which
Hmm.
isn't unheard of, but it's rare. And even
Yeah.
more rare is that your other vocalist is your husband.
Hmm.
So that's got to work out in very interesting ways. But vocally, in what ways does your husband push you? Because I'm sure you're exchanging those tips all the time.
I mean, he definitely got me to do some rap parts that I'd never done for sure prior to Six Sense. Yeah. I don't think it's like a push necessarily when it comes to vocals, maybe the songwriting. I think a lot of it is just when we bounce ideas back and forth or we're writing lyrics. Sometimes I might we're just like having brainstorming sessions, right? And
Hmm.
I'll throw a lyric his way or he'll throw a lyric my way and the other person will be like, that's kind of stupid, or I like this part, but I don't like the line after that. So I think it's a filter-free environment where
Hmm.
you can just bring out the best in each other if as long as there's no ego, as long as it's not like my idea has to win, which I think is a toxic thing I've seen in a lot of bands with multiple
Hmm.
songwriters. It's not necessarily about making the best song, but it's like whose idea it is. And a lot of people might come up with something and, they get demoitis. They're like, this is the best thing ever. And then someone else might come in and change it and they don't know how to deal with that. But with us, especially now, I don't really care. Like the older I get, I'm like, I just want to write a really awesome song. And whether my contributions are, 50% or 80% or 20%, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I still find a way for it to feel like it's my song, it's
Yeah.
our song.
Yeah. The respect is there, and everybody's going to get a turn. Everybody's
Yeah.
going to get a moment to do what they do and shine in the way
Hmm.
that they do best. And I'm sure, or I can imagine, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, dual vocals, that's got to be a little bit advantageous though, when you're trying to like preserve your voice, either of you.
Yes and no. It's cool because it allows me to maybe do more difficult stuff.
Mm,
Because I know that like, okay, if I have a really big moment that I don't know, I go for the high note or whatever, the next part, Robbie can come in and I can take a little breather. Whereas maybe if you're doing a whole song yourself, you might be like, oof, this is too many like vocal gymnastics back to back because that's
mm,
a lot of thing that people don't realize when you're performing a song live. Sometimes, people will look at live videos and be like, they sound like shit or whatever. But people don't realize it's not that you can't sing what you wrote or scream what you wrote. The studio environment's a lot different because you can do a
mm.
take a little breath, have some water and this, that. Live, it's not like that. And you have adrenaline. And if you're a good performer, you're moving around, you're talking to the crowd. And it's about the endurance of doing all these parts back to back. So everything that I record, there's moments where it feels difficult in studio, maybe, but it's gonna feel 10 times more difficult live. So that's kind of the advantage with splitting the vocals is like, okay, I have a big moment, but it's fine. I'm going to feel tired, maybe winded for like a second, but I'll be able to recover.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everybody takes a turn. So it's like it wasn't necessarily a strategic decision to
No.
do the dual vocalist thing. You just kind of, it was kind of a happy outcome that you discovered after the fact.
Yeah, yeah. We just started doing music, and originally, I think in the earlier Six Sense songs, I was mostly just singing choruses. We weren't as heavy. We were more like rap of rock metal or whatever.
Right.
Like we had some screaming, but nowhere near like what we're doing now. And I think my singing was a lot more mid-range. It wasn't the tunings were different in the songs, the dynamics weren't as wide, so we just kind of started writing and then it slowly became evident that like we wanted to do more. We're like, we can do more, let's do more.
there's an obvious evolution. I mean, since Cross Me Twice, your sound is definitely leaning a little bit more core now, in my opinion. But
Hmm.
I do want to talk about the common thread between that album and the Funerals EP that is on the way, and that's the hip hop elements, which I know to you was a little bit like maybe, whoo, okay, I got to learn. This is an adjustment at first. But
Yeah.
break down the origin of that for me. Was that more of a Robbie thing, or was that just something that was always there?
Well, Robbie's like, a great rapper. He always has been. And he was, prior to Sicksense, he had a local band at one point where he was rapping and screaming. He doesn't sing, which I find funny when we get some comments. They're like, "How about some melodic vocals from, the dude?" And I'm
And you're
like,
like, do
"You
you
don't
want
want
those?
that. You do not want that." But yeah, no, he's always been really good at rapping and really good at writing lyrics for that as well. So, I mean, it would be such a waste. We start a band and he's only screaming, and we're doing
Mhm.
the angel and devil thing, which, like, okay, cool. A lot of bands do that. They get a woman to sing and a dude that screams, and it's fine and it works. But we're more like, well, why would we limit ourselves if, like, we have so many other skills? Um, in our toolbox, like why not? Why not do it? And why not find a way to make it kind of work? And I know some people are going to think it's disjointed or that it doesn't belong or whatever, but I think, our music's not for everyone. If I wanted to write radio rock, I could. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Um but I think we still find a way where it's like it's not also like progressive metal, where it's like I'm a fan of prog music, but I don't like it when it's like too much. It's like 10 minutes of a
Mm.
song and nothing stuck with me after 10 minutes. Like I like there being a hook, So I think we're taking certain things that like prog metal has to offer, but we're doing it more so in combining all the different elements and styles rather than playing a million notes. And we try and make sure there's still a hook, whether it's like usually a singing chorus, but maybe like a song like Newsflash, that's a screaming chorus, but think there's still a hook.
Mhm.
So that, people that find it a little bit all over the place, it's like, well, at least there's a chorus you can come back to and there's something you can remember.
Yeah, which all the criticism about like doing different things, doing different sounds, trying out different vocals, all of that, man, it's ironic to me because I feel like now more than ever, metal is opening up a lot more when it
Hmm.
comes to genre blending,
Yeah.
just in general.
Hmm. Yeah. It's kind of weird because to me it's a phrase that is used as a compliment and as a criticism. Like
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing. It's just when you do that and people like it, they use it as a compliment. When you do it and they don't like it, they use it as an insult. So it's not a bad thing. It's just it's does this resonate with you or not? That's the only question people need to be asking. They don't need to try and figure out why they don't like it. I think that's the problem with like internet culture, that people
It's
will
MGK syndrome. I call it Machine Gun Kelly syndrome. This man is a prime example of this, where like
for
people
the
don't know,
genre switching, you
they
mean,
don't know what to
or
do with him. Yeah, they don't know what
yeah,
to do with him, and
yeah.
it's like, man, this guy has always floated between the two worlds.
Right, but like is it a good song or not? Like when he
Yeah,
first made his switch to pop punk, and I don't remember, is the song Forget You or whatever the song that
yeah,
says
yeah,
You
with
Want Me to
Halsey.
Forget You with Halsey? I was like, I don't even really listen to pop punk, but this is a great song. This is a good song. Like why would I hate on it?
Period.
Like,
Yeah,
but I think that's all that matters. I think people associate the music to the people way too much, first of all. And then they also try and find reasons to justify why they don't like something. Whereas I think if I'm listening to random songs or like I do my music reactions on Twitch every Monday, I people will suggest something, I'll check it out. Sometimes I don't like it. I don't necessarily need to find a reason. Maybe on my streams I'll try and explain why I didn't like it as Vicky because I know like my personal taste. But like I don't that process typically doesn't go in my head. I'm just like it just didn't click with me. Whatever, next. But people
yeah.
need to find a reason and they need to tell the artist what it was. I'm like, "What do you want me to do? Go back into the studio and rework on it just for you?" Like
I want an answer to that. That's a great question. Every time we run into that, I mean,
Yeah.
you hit on this a little bit ago, but newsflash, I mean, it is definitely all about owning and embracing what you love and protecting your individuality. And those are two important things you got to do when you're trying to block out all of that excess noise. So
Mhm.
for you, how do you do that in a world where it gets chaotic?
I just, I try to be good with myself.
Mm.
I try to like, I think it goes back to the cancer thing that we were talking about in the beginning. Like, I feel a lot of things. When other people wrong me, it bothers me, but like, it's like, whatever. Not everyone can love me. It's fine.
Mhm.
But if I wrong myself, I carry that with me. I'll go to bed at night and I'll be like, that was so stupid. Why did I do that? Or why did I say that? So I try and live my life in a way that I'm going to be happy with. And I try and treat people with, the respect and the dignity that I want to be treated with. And I think that just kind of helps me navigate through all of it because, again, I have a conscience. I understand that maybe some people don't, but like I want to go to bed at night and feel like I'm a good person and that I did, right by myself for first and foremost. And that's just kind of how I deal with it, I guess.
What's one thing you thought you wanted from the industry that maybe you realized you didn't actually want?
That's a great question. Maybe when I was younger, I think respect. I think I would have
Mhm.
like I see this comment pretty often even to this day. People are just like, "You're so criminally underrated." And it's like, yeah, sure, I am, and so many other artists and bands are too. It's not necessarily the best musicians and the best bands that make it out there. Sometimes they do, but sometimes we see people at the top that it's just like their music is manufactured and cookie cutter, and maybe they're terrible people behind the scenes as well. Like the world isn't fair. It's not that like only the best people thrive.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But I think when I was younger, it was like I felt like I had something to prove vocally as well. Like, not that that was why I was doing it, but it would infiltrate a little bit into my why, and it would mess with my head a little bit more because I would get compared to other vocalists
Ugh, always.
um
And why they do it with the
always,
females all the time,
all the
especially
time.
with the
Yeah.
women, especially there.
Yeah. And I would be compared to women that like sound nothing like me, or sometimes people be like so and so's way better than Vicky, like as if it's an objective as if it's an objective fact.
Right.
They wouldn't say I prefer so and so's voice over Vicky's because that's fine. But I was just like, there's sometimes I don't want to name names. I don't even remember at this point, but maybe they would mention vocalists that like objectively from a technical standpoint weren't as good as I am, because maybe they just like did the one thing and stayed in their lane, which is like that's fine too. But I would just fall into this trap where like because of the noise that was happening on the internet and the industry, I would feel like I'd have something to prove. And then I think over time I've just been like, no, I don't have anything to prove. Like if I do difficult, cool shit vocally on a song, it's because it works with the song and it's because it adds to the song. It's not because I have something to prove.
Hmm.
I'll see comments sometimes, people being like, they'll see a 30-second clip on the internet and they're like, she sounds okay, I guess, but
Yeah.
like,
The
and I'm
balls of
like,
some people, really.
yeah, and I'm just like, dude, it's 30 seconds. You want me to make a 30-second reel of every vocal style I can do just to please you? Like, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of vocalists struggle with this too. So if anyone's watching this, just like, that's just noise you need to shut out. Like, if you want to be respected, just be true to yourself, and the people that are worthy of it will respect you and you'll respect them back. But I
Yeah.
really like, I feel like at this point I have nothing to prove. Like, if people want to do a deep dive and look into my discography and see all the shit that I do, it's up there. Some stuff I don't even do anymore because I just don't feel like I need to prove anything, and I think it's a very liberating feeling.
There's a lot of artists that listen to this that I know are going to appreciate what you just said for sure. So
Perfect.
thank you for that. And what I take joy in is that it does look like you're able to maybe poke fun of it, I guess I'll say, some of the
Yeah.
time. Artificial Irrelevance video, the new single, being
Yeah.
a prime example of that because I do
Yeah.
love the fun vibe of the video.
Hmm.
To me, it is obvious that you're kind of sort of ish taking shots at AI and other industry stuff happening in
Yeah.
there. I mean, and given how it's permeating the music industry right now, this is something that you have every right to speak on. And
Yeah.
my biggest concern with AI, it's just how quickly that we've adopted it at all without asking the necessary questions or doing our due diligence and
Hmm.
understanding its capabilities or the consequences of its use. Like
Yeah.
I don't know that the average person hasn't questioned it. I think some do. But surely the decision makers who decide how AI shows up in our lives, I mean, they have not. They're full send at this
Well,
point.
I think because the primary motivating factor is like money and control, right? Although I've
Mm,
heard that AI is bleeding money, they're losing a lot of money on it, so hopefully it'll go away. I don't really know. I don't involve myself in that, but ethically speaking, obviously it's wrong. Um, the thing that makes me laugh a little bit is people are surprised that it came to this. I'm like, you were surprised? I'm like, how did you not see this coming?
yeah,
Anyways, but I don't want to be the type of person who's like, I told you so. I don't want to mock people that maybe were a little naive to what was going to happen with AI.
right.
I some people say it's here to stay, some people say it's going to go away because they're bleeding money. I don't really know. We can't predict the future.
It's going to look different. I think
It's
I mean,
yeah.
yes, they have already literally and figuratively invested in it quite
Mhm.
a bit, but it's going to look different. It's like anything else. Social media doesn't
Yeah.
look the same way it
Oh
does
god, no. No,
15 years
no.
ago when that was popping.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
if, at first, it looks completely different today.
Yeah.
I think that's more so what we're going to see. But you saw
Yeah.
clues ahead of time. You sort
Oh,
of like the breadcrumbs were there for you.
yeah, I mean, just like with social media and social media originally being a platform for people to connect, and then people realized, oh, wait a second, we can have ads on here and companies can make money, and then it became a business. It's
Mm,
just at the end of the day, money and power and control will trump anything really. And
yeah.
for me, artificial relevance, it's part of that, and it's part of like the whole social media culture that exists in general, that like
Mm,
people seek validation on the internet. They create this persona online that they try to live by, but then once the camera's off, they're a completely different person. And just the toxic doom scrolling culture and the, the constant instant gratification of like, give me something in the first 3 seconds, otherwise I'm going to scroll away. Like,
which when did that change? I'm like, are we really that old now that we forgot what waiting in line was like? Like
really,
honestly.
yeah, I really don't know. It does make me feel old when I see this stuff. I'm happy to have grown up. Millennials have it the best because we got to experience real life, and then we got to experience,
Yeah.
the introduction of technology. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say I don't like technology. Like, look, we're doing this interview right now because of technology.
Hmm.
Like, I'm able to stream on Twitch. I've been able to build a community online because of it. But
Yes.
I think I'm also allowed to call out when it kills authenticity and it kills the genuine human experience and interaction. And I think it's a problem how much people are glued to their phones and how much the self validation that they seek is reliant on that. And that's what artificial relevance is about, because at the end of the day, Instagram or TikTok or whatever, it could all go away. And then
Yeah.
who are you after that? If you lose your 500,000 followers, who are you after that? Like, I think you need to have bodies of work that speak for themselves outside of this internet space. So,
Stand on something. And speaking
yeah.
of that, I definitely want to get to the evolution of your career, but to go like on to what kind of what we're talking about now. Sicksense has obviously used human artists before. You still do when it comes to your
Hmm.
artwork, your merch. And I noticed that it looked like you might be using the same artist for your upcoming funerals EP that you did on Kings Today, Fools Tomorrow. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep. Same one.
She's
Yeah.
amazing, whoever that
She's
is.
incredible. Yeah. Her name's Alexandra Morozova. She's just an independent artist. We just really love her work. And when we had the idea for this EP, I'm like, okay, her art style's really gonna work really well. So I'm very happy to bring her back, and it's just her work is so striking. It stands out in the sea of everything right now that's either AI or just like
Yeah.
photoshopped or whatever, digital art or yeah.
It does. It caught my attention. And you're busy working on new merch at the moment ish.
Yeah.
So, what do you think makes a good piece of merch?
I think if it tells some kind of story,
Mm,
like uh the story is like part of it, but like I think it just has to have something that people want to wear, whether it's the design or the colors or whatever it may be, So yeah, we're a lot of our merch is inspired by our songs and our
hmm.
lyrics, and we try and build a design that brings that out. So far so good. And we experiment with our merch too. We don't just do the one style, just like our music. So I think that's cool because it's like if
Yes.
someone doesn't like the super serious metal style, well, we got the funny, jokey ones too, and we have colors and we have, just white. So we just mix it up.
I did peep Instagram lately, and I love seeing them mixing it up all the time. Not just when it comes to artwork and creativity, but you in your personal life too. I mean, you're at the shooting range. This woman is at the shooting range. You went for the first time
I
recently.
know.
What what did you think?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I was like, damn, this is a lot of work. I didn't expect it. Well, I expected it to be work. I didn't think it would just be pew pew, like obviously I expected the force and, the kickback and all that, but it's different actually doing it. But our bassist Rich, he's in the gun industry and knows a
Oh,
lot about that. So we used his gun. He brought his personal gun and he just showed us how to do it properly and all that, and I think that helped make it easier for, my first time.
does it help in Call of Duty? That's what
I
I want to
don't
know.
know. I actually haven't played yet, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Yeah.
Tell me, I you love gaming. That's obvious. You've been on some soundtracks. You've been doing your
hmm
thing in that industry. Where did the love of gaming and all that? Where does that originate?
Oh, just from being a kid, like I
Yeah.
was I was playing on the original NES console, and then, I saw that evolution as well, and when the first PlayStation console came out, people were like, "Holy shit, this is like the best thing
Yeah.
ever." And that's probably the console I played most of my games on was the original PlayStation, just
Yep.
because I was like at the right age. I was in middle school at the time, so like old
Tony
enough
Hawk Pro
to
Skater, the like Pizza Hut demo or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. Old enough to like be able to play a little bit of the more mature games, but still young
Right.
enough that like I have the time for it. Um and yeah, I'm definitely more in like the RPG kind of world, more so than like FPS. I've never been like an FPS or an online gaming type of person. Not that I wouldn't do it, but it's just I originally was drawn to RPGs, and that's just kind of most of the games that I play.
I feel you. I was weighing whether or not to pre-order GTA 6 this weekend. I know that that was out and that was like news, but I'm like, man, are they going to delay it again? I don't know. So
Yeah.
we're watching that. But how does one go from the music industry to now we're doing soundtracks and voiceover work for games, and we're all in on the gaming industry too. We're balancing both worlds.
I mean, how does one? There's many ways to go about it. In my situation, it was just pure dumb luck, I guess. I just got discovered and got offered, these opportunities based on the work I had done in the music industry.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, yeah. It was just like, I like your voice. Do you want to do this or do you want to audition for this? But obviously that's a whole world. It's you can go on Twitter, there's a whole like casting call environment or maybe LinkedIn and just kind of dip your toes. It's something I do want to do more, but I've definitely been focusing on music more so. But I would love to do more voiceover work, and I think I can do more stuff with my voice for sure. I have more to show. Yeah.
What do you is does that involve working with the vocal coach if you were to take on more of that, or just experimenting and having fun on your own?
Um, I don't think at this stage I would do a vocal coach. Maybe if it became like a serious thing. But the thing is, when you get hired to do VO work, there's
Hmm.
typically an audio director there, so they kind of like you know, it's not just a free do whatever you want. They direct you, they tell you what they want. So it's kind
Hmm.
of like coaching while you're recording. So I feel like that's sufficient enough at this stage. And I also think I wouldn't be chosen to voice something that I can't do. You know, like if I auditioned and they liked it, that means it's
Right.
something I can do. I think I would only work with a coach if it's like I'm trying to do stuff that's outside of my wheelhouse and, you know, improve.
Funerals EP on the way, past the next EP. What's next? What are the goals for Sixth Sense?
Um, Hopefully some touring. We're working on that, hopefully. And more music right after this EP.
Cannot
We're not
wait.
going to stop. We're not going to
Yes!
stop.
Cannot wait. Vicky, thank you so much for stopping by. We can't
Thank
wait to see
you.
it all.